Hello YouTube, guess who's back with Onision videos? That's right, it's me. Today, we are continuing our journey through the sordid history of one YouTuber named Onision. This is part of a series that has been ongoing since 2019. Each part of the series can be viewed on their own or together to paint a larger picture of this YouTuber's interaction on the platform. The videos are in a playlist and can keep you company while you paint your room or something. Anyways, in the last part of the series, we covered 2014, which was one of the more boring years in his controversial history. In this video, we will be going over the timeline of 2015. This year isn't as wild as some of the previous years, but it does set up the foundation for the years to come, involving Onision and his terrible relationship history with women. I would say the general theme and what to look forward to in this part is how it lays the groundwork for one of the craziest years in Onision lore. This is a slow build before the climactic 2016 threesome drama. If you're curious about what that is, well, let's get into it. Last we left him, Onision was married to a much younger person who went by the name Laney Bot, or Taylor at the time. We now begin to go into our 2015 sordid history of Onision, one of the most hated men on YouTube. So we begin this year with a general note. Sometime in 2015, Onision cleared out the entire library on the Onision Encore channel. He would eventually use this channel again in 2016, and it is unclear why he cleared it out in 2015. Greg changed the channel description to from a dancing panda to image montages of girls who want to fight. Onision Encore includes both censored and uncensored content derived from Onision Speaks, Bro, and Onision Archive. Ready, set, fight! And with that general note and random Onistorian factoid, let's get into the beginning of this year's adventure. We begin this year, well, let's just say, according to the master timeline Google Doc from the Life of Onion wiki, on January 6th, 2015, Laney, now called Kai, sent out a tweet claiming that they were sending Regina nudes. It was apparently phrased as a joke, but according to Regina, it was not, and they reciprocated. Regina was 17, and Laney was 20 at the time. Also around this time, Onision began to lash out passive-aggressively to his ex-friend Shane Dawson. He tweeted out, "At Shane Dawson, people keep writing me, saying you wanted me in a podcast. Thanks for the invite. I'm not up for it right now, but wish you luck." Shane Dawson responded, "At Onision, what?" To which Onision responded, "Like I said, I'm not interested, but hope you have an awesome life." This year, Onision was killing it in YouTube views. He was posting numerous short videos that would get between 200,000 views to 1 million views with every upload. One example of this was a video titled Laney Bot and Onision, 10 Things I Hate About Instagram, which featured a collection of sketches making fun of Instagram. It was pretty standard humor for the time and nothing to write home about.
I don't see it.
How many people you follow in stuff?
Like 1,000. You bitch.
I'll cut your eyes out.
I'll cut my own eyes out so I don't have to look at you.
Did it show up yet?
Oh yeah.
But one thing to note is this is the first time ex-friend of Onision's, an actress, Madison DeCambria, appeared in a video from what I can tell. She will become more prevalent in Onision's content as the years pass. Meanwhile, the relationship between 20-year-old Laney and 17-year-old Regina continued on social media. On January 19th, Laney tweeted at Regina, asking them to get, quote, this good. And then on January 23rd, Regina made a post on Tumblr talking about how excited they were to meet Laney later that year. Onision also reached a milestone. On January 25th, the Bro channel reached 1 million subscribers. It was his second channel to reach that number. Eventually, Bro surpassed Greg's main channel in subscribers. And also around this time, it seemed like Greg and Sear, another large YouTuber, became friends again. If you haven't watched the other parts, the on again, off again fallout of these two is a constant changing factor throughout the years, until they did eventually have one final falling out. That will come later in the timeline. Onision was really collecting members of his little Onision universe this year, or Onionverse as I like to call it. And sometime in this month, he began making videos with a girl who would go by Anna Minx, which was a replacement for the YouTuber he dated for like 2 weeks in 2012, named Hannah Minx, who had left the internet at this point. I talked about Hannah Minx in another video, but it's weird that he would get a girl to pretend to be his ex-internet girlfriend. Moving on. In previous videos, I discussed Laney's eating disorder, and on January 28th, 2015, they tweeted out their goal weight was 110 pounds, saying that they were only 2 pounds away. The month changes, and Onision begins February 2015 talking about circumcision, which is something he talks about on social media quite a lot, as seen in the previous parts. On February 3rd, he tweeted, "Be like, yeah, cut his dick up. But if you about to circumcise a girl, they be like, no, y'all be stupid." Laney Bot joined in this time and tweeted out, "If you're female and support male circumcision, squat thee upon a mirror and try to appreciate what you have protected by federal law." Onision even posted a little essay about circumcision too. Like, I agree with him in general that circumcision is morally sketchy, but he really, look at him go with this essay. Does he think that 13-year-old girls who watch his videos care about this? He wrote, "From my Facebook page to everyone. It's weird hearing stories about girls saying they wouldn't have sex with a guy who has a foreskin. 1, if you loved him, it wouldn't matter. 2, what if a guy said that about your uncut vagina? You would think he was a superficial/shallow piece of garbage, right? Many men in parts of the world feel a woman having an intact vagina is wrong. Crazy, right? Now you know how disgusting you look when you run your mouth about guys who don't have missing pieces. You like your skin-covered vagina intact, and the 80% of men in the world who are still whole aren't standing in line to get sliced up either. They have a choice, unlike the circumcised men, and they chose to remain in mint condition, with all the parts they were born with. It's okay to admit you're wrong, especially in this case. An uncut baby girl is perfect, just like an uncut baby boy is perfect. Think about how much women appreciate having their vaginas whole, and you will somewhat understand the value a foreskin has to men who actually know what it's like to have one. Unfortunately, in many places, having a foreskin is a rare luxury. But to all the 99.9% of parents who refuse to have their kids circumcised only to watch them grow, happy with their penis remaining whole, I and your sons thank you. Thank you for listening. I had a lot of information on my timeline that I put together for this video of things Onision did for the next few days, like tweet out passive-aggressive stuff about other YouTubers and jerk off his own ego. But it's all the same different year as all my other Onision parts. But my favorite rant he went on was complaining about other YouTubers, saying they love their fans, to which Onision concluded, and I quote, "You know who also loved his fans? Hitler." Wow, so edgy. A little internet lesson for those listening. I want to introduce you to Godwins Law, which is Godwins Law, short for Godwins Law or Rule of Nazi Analogies, is an internet adage asserting that as an online discussion grows longer, regardless of topic or scope, the probability of a comparison involving Nazis or Adolf Hitler approaches 1. In less mathematical terms, the longer the discussion, the more likely a Nazi comparison becomes. And with long enough discussions, it is a certainty. The law was created because whenever someone who thinks themselves smart gets into an argument, they try to win the argument by comparing the situation to Nazis or Hitler, even when that comparison is nonsensical. Onision is like the epitome of someone who falls under this law. Meanwhile, Laney continued to flirt with Regina on Twitter, tweeting out on February 5th that they have a meal for themselves and their young friend. Sears solidified that his and Onision's friendship had been fixed on February 7th, 2015, when he posted a video called My Real Name, where the two... I don't even know what it is.
Stop! Reek! Come on, Reek! Come on, Reek!
I did laugh at a moment in it, though. It was... Well, it was a video. That's all I can really say about it. Moving on. I really can't get over how much Onision posted about circumcision this month. Again, I personally agree circumcision is a dated practice that is essentially legalized genital mutilation. But on the 15th, Onision posted that people should sue their parents for circumcising them because it makes your penis less sensitive. Laney finally made their own YouTube channel on February 19th, 2015. Their channel was called Laney Bot at the time, but they eventually changed it to Cool Guy Kai after transitioning to male. Next, Gregory Jackson decided to be an edgy atheist. He posted on February 27th, "Son, Dad, I'm gay. Christian Dad. Get out of my house, you abomination. Son, Dad, I'm gay. Atheist Dad. Makes no difference. I love you." Onision also posted on this day, "The latest reports show over 75% of my audience is over 18 years old. Looks like I don't have much in common with Trick Cereal after all." Because nobody would ever lie on the internet about their age. Underneath the post, a lot of people were saying they were under 18, LOL. Finally, something interesting happened. We got something besides insufferable tweets and videos of Onision Googling stuff in front of a green screen. Sometime around February 31st, Onision started hinting he was writing a book. He tweeted out, "I have literally never been so scared about anyone reading anything I've written like this. Ugh, I feel like crying. Ugh. My book is now available for purchase online. I don't want to tell you where because I'm nervous as fluck. Urgh." Stones to Abigail has over 42,000 words. I'm so incredibly happy I finally took time to write them all down. Reading my book, Stones to Abigail again, crying pretty hard. This part hurts me every time. Hold on to your pants for the excitement of Greg writing a book. That's the best part of this year in my opinion. After this, March came, and with March, Onision made a new version of the Onision forums, hosted on onision.co. The Onision forums aren't really important in this year, but they will be next year, so I am tracking the changes. Then, on March 3rd, Onision posted, the most interesting video title known to man. The video was titled, "My boyfriend came inside me. What do I do?" Yeah, it was his typical video where he Googled something and reacted. But God, who asked for this?
This girl's like, "Oh, my boyfriend just busted a nut. What do I do?" I don't know, do you want to have a baby? Because if you don't want to have a baby, then maybe you should have been on birth control before you had sex in the first place. Maybe watch an Onision Speaks video about it.
I'm gonna get so many high fives for nutting my girlfriend.
Men, can't live with them. Can't live with them.
In my last video, I showed posts from Onision ranting about how there's no such thing as being transgender, because you can't change your gender, regardless of your opinion on this. Onision took a 180 in this year, writing on Tumblr, "Your family can't accept that you're transgender? F*** 'em. You be you. Hate is their choice. Happiness is yours." Onision clarified his new stance on this by writing on Twitter, "You can be part of a gender without surgery. Genders are about who you are, not your physical makeup. I apologize for my ignorance. Regarding comments I made some time ago on transgenders, obviously I didn't know the definition of gender, and for that, I was wrong." And then the day finally came. Onision released his first book, Stones to Abigail, and what ensued was amazing. The title character, Abigail, was apparently named after a girl from Onision's past. And the book, well, we'll get into the extremely cliched, edgy 2015 plot. The story revolved around Greg's self-insert character, James, and a sad, personality-less broken girl named Abigail. And because Greg fetishizes broken women he has to fix, with being the omnipotent, most honest YouTube god, Abby was a cutter and was abused by her boyfriend, to which Greg's self-insert character saves her from this, and they totally fall in love and have a steamy sex scene. Yes. So when the book was released, it was a self-published Kindle ebook, and it listed Onision and not Gregory Jackson as the author, publisher, and editor. He also listed Laney, not Taylor, as an editor. To promote the hardcover of his book, Greg would post images from his fans that had purchased the book to his Twitter and Tumblr. At first, they were pictures of the book fans posted. Eventually, it became selfies of fans holding the book up or reading the book. He continued retweeting these images for months. The original description of the book read, James is an analytical teenager who has yet to truly understand love until he begins talking to a girl named Abby. Abby is the same age and has a complicated past that James learns more about as their relationship progresses. The two go through a number of challenges together, many more traumatic and difficult than most people experience in a lifetime. James finds himself defending Abby both verbally and physically. The depth of love he feels for her is tested repeatedly, but James remains strong, always standing with Abby through it all. Greg eventually changed the description to, "I want to be direct. My name is Greg. I go by Onision online. This book is made up of events that occurred in my own life, mixed with fiction from the made-up life of James. James is essentially a better version of myself. His home, his school, and his life all resemble my own at his age. The people James analyzes and is surrounded by are not so unlike those I've known as well. I have experienced much of the loss James has. However, his happier moments are more often than not also mine. I want to share my story without it being purely nonfiction. I simply felt this approach would make for a far better book. Stones to Abigail is not a book I wrote. It is a piece of who I am." The reception to the book was not good. A common complaint of the book was the constant grammatical errors. You see, Greg would not hire an editor, and he himself admitted that he doesn't read any books. In fact, he was quoted to say that Stones to Abigail was the first book he had read in years. The day after the book came out, Onision announced it was available to purchase on his Twitter account, and also wrote, "Reading my book, Stones to Abigail again, crying pretty hard. This part hurts me every time." To which someone responded, "At Onision, I had no idea Onision read books. I'm actually really surprised." To which Onision responded, "I don't. I haven't read a book, cover to cover, in about 14 years or so. Aside from Stones to Abigail, I mean." After admitting he doesn't read books, Onision went to Tumblr to complain about people saying his book was bad. Onision's book had been out for 2 days before he started to make changes. I'm going to read directly from the Life of Onion Wiki. On March 31st, 2015, Greg posted a picture to Twitter of himself wearing a blood-soaked white outfit. The outfit his character Seth wore to shoot up Lakewood High. He revealed he just completed a photo shoot for the new cover of his book. That night, he revealed the new cover of Stones to Abigail, which would also become the cover for the release of the hardcover of the book. The new front cover was very similar to the original white with blood splats and bloody words. The back continued the blood-soaked cloth background, but also had Greg, dressed as Seth, holding a gun. His head is cut off at the top of the page. There were some complaints about the cover change. One was that the text was hard to read. Another was that it was too similar to the book covers of David Movie's Hater series. He would change the cover again in April, and then again in July. This new cover that he made on March 31st was very, very edgy. Very edgy. Due to the bad reviews, Onision began to take to his Tumblr to post positive reviews as if those were the only well-written reviews. He definitely believed he had written a decent book, despite never reading a book, much less writing anything, besides sketches in over a decade. He is so arrogant. People literally spend years building up writing talent, and he thinks a few afternoons of spewing out his sad girl fetish on some pages puts him up with the grades. There is an extensive library of YouTubers reading and reviewing Greg's book, Stones to Abigail, and each review details the cliched plot points that make the book feel as if a 15-year-old wrote it. The book even ends with a school shooting where Greg's self-insert character saves the day. Onision really thought he wrote something good, and on the 31st, he posted to Tumblr an advertisement for his book that read, "What has sex, action, love, death, chaos, and controversy? Stones to Abigail, a book you claim to have read and somehow managed to review without mentioning any of the above. I don't ask for lies. I ask that if you're going to say something, make it the truth, or shut your mouth." If you want to see an example of some genuinely funny reviews of the book, I'm going to read some. One reads, "Knee-slappingly hilarious. As I read this book, I realized it was an amazing comedy, laughable from beginning to end, riddled with grammatical and spelling mistakes. I made a drinking game out of it, which consisted of the following: 1 shot for every chapter that has no mistakes, 1 shot for every time he actually used the word and instead of an and simple. 2 shots each time the main character, James, feels at all relatable. As fun as drinking games are, I was slightly disappointed at the fact that I seemed to be more sober by the end of the book than when I began. If you can strain through all the mistakes previously mentioned, then it is actually a great book. By this I mean that it follows the definition of a book in perfection. As defined by the Oxford English Dictionary, a book is a written or printed work consisting of pages glued or sewn together along one side and bound in covers. And this thing he wrote, as mentioned before, falls perfectly under the description. But as far as the content goes, it's as interesting as a tightly coiled turd. The plot of the book advances about as fast as the 405 North at 5 p.m. on a Tuesday. And just when it seems like he's going somewhere with the story, an 18-wheeler appears, cuts the path to your exit, and you're now forced to wait for another mile to get to your destination. A great thing about books is that the words you read combined with your imagination paint a beautiful picture in your mind. But in this case, it's not helpful since the image that is being painted appears to have been done by a 4-year-old, and it gets to a point where it feels as engaging as watching the paint dry. He describes with incredible depth how the tiles in his schools are, but the only thing you get to know about any particular character is that they praise him as if he were a god, and maybe their height. I could go on about it, but I think you get the point. Another review reads, "Sounds like it was written by an angsty 14-year-old. Used to be a fan, read the book out of curiosity and couldn't finish it. Got about halfway through before I stopped. I used to read some bad fanfiction as a teen, and that's what it reminded me of. Last time I buy a book just because I'm nosy without checking out the Cliff Notes version first. Lordy lordly." Back to Onision's YouTube career though, and Onision hit his next major controversy on YouTube sometime in April when he posted a video titled Tumblr, Before and After, Weight Loss Pictures. The video is now gone, but it was apparently Greg showing before and after photos and making comments on people's bodies, diets, and race based on images. After this came out, the Tumblr fitness community began talking about the video, and people featured in the video got upset for being featured in it without permission. One person who was featured in the video contacted Greg personally and complained that he misrepresented their progress in the photo he used without permission. Greg soon took down the video and actually apologized to the person, and then he re-uploaded the video to his archive channel on April 13th of that year, with that person cut out. Also around this time, the AntiOnision internet dwellers went through Onision's Stones to Abigail book and began to release summaries. I've given you the basic plot of the book, but I want to read off the summary for chapter 14, which is the chapter with the sex scene. Here is a summary from one Anti-O. James meets up with Abby in gym class, and they decide to skip the rest of the day. They struggle to walk home because they were making out so much. They finally get home and have sex. The sex scene can be read here. I don't feel like trying to summarize it. They have sex for the rest of the day, only taking breaks to drink water and recover. They now become one apparently. The YouTuber Godwins also began reading Onision's book on video and reacting to it, with much hilarious results.
I walked quickly down the hall towards my art class, which was awkwardly placed in a trailer outside my clearly poorly funded high school. Woohoo! Clearly poorly funded, Jesus Christ. As I approached my next class, the image of Abby's face illuminated the neon walls of my mind like a projector teasing a theater screen with a fleeting moments of death, ampersand purpose. Depth, ampersand purpose. Who the f*** is Abby?
Onision took to his YouTube channel to complain about people being mean to him online, in a video posted around April 4th titled, "Why are people such jerks online?"
Today we're gonna ask a question, why are people such jerks online? And no, I'm not just making this video because I got bad book reviews. Only I totally am. So there's this not at all helpful Amazon reviewer. Oh hey, check it out, there's a button where I can just click no to tell them to go f themselves. This person says, give it a shot if you absolutely hate yourself. They said the plot can be summed up as whiny teen angst. You didn't read the book, because if you did read book, you would know how wrong you are.
Yeah, he mad. Despite Onision's book being a critical failure, he was killing it on YouTube this year. And on April 4th, he posted another viral video titled 10 Things I Hate About Toddlers. It was typical for videos based on list-based sketches. It was not for me. Meanwhile, on to my most favorite and the most magical place on the internet, Kiwi Farms. Users there begin to laugh and review Onision's book, One user even recorded himself reading each chapter, though the recordings are indeed lost to time. And then on April 5th, 2015, the AntiOnision faction of the internet joined together to create the Life of Onion Wiki, which is a resource I use often in this series. This is a pretty well-organized Wikipedia for being based on a stupid abusive lolcow. Kudos to the creators. Laney then began to sad post all over the internet. They posted on Twitter around April 6th. Love is dead, they continued. I know when I'm not wanted. I am the cause to all your problems. If you'd have known me better, you'd have never chosen me. And I can't use the telephone to tell you that I'm dead and gone, so you won't know. Hey, Mr. Hangman, go get your rope. I'm sorry I'm not what you wanted. This has been the day. At least my suspicions have been reaffirmed. This has been great. Thumbs up. That moment when people suck. And I'm allowed to be sad. People have feelings. It's normal. Also, Greg is not the only thing that can make me sad. If I post a sad tweet, it doesn't mean he's mistreating me. Other things make me sad. I just wish, for once, you knew how it felt to be put down lower than everything else. And we got some insight into perhaps why Laney was feeling emo. Though I'm putting on my tinfoil hat for this, because around April 2nd, someone asked Onision what Laney thought of his book, and he responded that they hated the main female character, to which one person speculated that maybe it's because Abby was based on an old girlfriend. Really activates my almonds. And then, much to everyone's horror, on April 10th, 2015, Greg announced that he wanted to write a second book. He tweeted, "Already itching to write another book. Hilarious Stones to Abigail was the first book I read in like 14 years. Yes, I said read." Around April 12th, Onision updated the book covers of Stones to Abigail to a digital photo of Laney pretending to cry in lacy black gloves with an Instagram filter over top. Greg claims the second cover change was due to the previous cover being too bloody. Onision did a lot of bragging this year. Remember, he is like totally amazing. And I have this tweet in my timeline from April 11th that I just wanted to read. He tweeted out, "Your book was a work of fiction, whereas most YouTubers just wrote about their struggles as a privileged white person." Dies of laughter. Wow, he's so amazing. So one thing I mentioned in previous parts is that Onision has a major obsession with self-harm and cutting. Who knows why? He seems to like broken girls, so he can fulfill his hero complex. And sometime, apparently in April, he must have posted another video about cutting, because one person wrote, "Seriously though, have any of you seen Onision's self-harm video? If you haven't, to summarize it, he basically says in the video that if you self-harm, you're selfish. And unless you're starving in Africa, you have no reason to be depressed." Then he says that he suffers from depression, and kids have told them that he's helped them quit cutting. So he can't be ignorant, right? When I commented on the video, telling him how he's invalidating people's emotions, and how he needs to stop, I had people telling me to kill myself, and bring up the fact that he also has depression. Like that somehow makes what he said okay. What a piece of shit. He has 1.5 million subscribers, and all he's doing in that video is furthering stigma and ignorance about mental illnesses. He's literally so problematic, and I want to meet him just so I can tell him he's a piece of shit to his face. I have borderline personality disorder. No one in my family understands. My brothers have repeatedly told me I'm selfish, and I don't know how to explain myself. I've self-harmed for 7 years, and unless you've done it, you'll never understand it. Stop spreading your ignorance. I literally angrily cried over that video, okay? But Greg wasn't all bad and deplorable and also boring in this year. He also spoke out against the singer and alleged predator, Davy Vanity, from the band Blood on the Dance Floor. In a video titled, "Why Do People Hate Blood on the Dance Floor?" Greg goes into detail about threatening messages the band sent people on social media, and the allegations about Davy Vanity assaulting minors.
"We're gonna speak the truth till I die. We saw Blood on the Dance Floor music Davy bring underage girls to his hotel rooms and do sexual things." Wait, how did you see that? You just watching someone children? Doesn't that make you an accomplice? Jeffree Star allegedly said, "No longer support them and how disgusting Davy is. Touching children and enjoying the attention is evil. Being on tour with that child effer has made me see the truth. I regret ever doing a song with that pig. If you support that piece of ass, then unfollow me because you're supporting child molestation. Davy is the lowest worthless scum I've ever met."
Pretty based. This year, more and more people also began to question Greg's treatment of then Laney Bot. On April 27th, 2015, someone posted a video titled, "The Effects of an Abusive Relationship, Onision," where they show progression photos of Onision's spouse, implying that Greg was abusing them. Greg's treatment of his spouse will grow more questionable as the timeline progresses. Next, Greg posted a video titled, "Why are there so many black people in prison?" Yeah, he just does what he always does and Googles why there are so many black people in prison, and then he just reads and reacts to the first results. He does, however, in this video make a joke about being incarcerated due to attacking his father.
So I think we can properly conclude why black people a lot of times wind up in prison more than white people. In a big way, it's probably profiling, and in another big way, it's probably how people are raised. If you look into statistics, a lot of times black people grow up in rougher neighborhoods than white people. That's just an unfortunate reality. Doesn't mean that just because you're black, you're doomed to grow up in a bad neighborhood. It's just a statistical probability. For instance, if I grew up in a bad neighborhood, I would probably be much more likely to wind up in jail. Let's just forget about the whole beating up my dad thing. That doesn't count because it was self-defense. Come on.
Greg's next brush-in with a famous musician came on May 6th when Greg posted the video, "Why Do People Hate Falling in Reverse?", where he searches for images of some musician named Ronnie Radke and reacted to them. In response, Ronnie went to Twitter to insult Greg, calling him a Twilight vampire and accusing him of buying subs. Greg made a follow-up video showing his viewers Ronnie's tweets. Ronnie then deleted the tweets, and then for some reason, Greg started to suck up to Ronnie on Twitter. Onision was really killing it on YouTube this year, as mentioned. On May 13th, he posted a video titled "YouTubers Without Makeup," which reached 13 million views, making it one of the most viewed videos on his Uh-Oh Bro channel. And in the video, he, you guessed it, Googled pictures of YouTubers without makeup. He just said everyone looks Mormon.
Oh. I've come to realize most everyone without makeup looks Mormon, which isn't a bad thing if you like looking basic.
On May 21st, Onision gave more information about his second book, tweeting out that the writing will be similar to Stones to Abigail, and told people that if they did not like the previous book, then they should not buy the new one. And also on this day, Onision decided to show how full of facts he was by tweeting out, "If you cut yourself, you are mentally sick. Get a therapist. They literally exist to help people like you." True. Always wrong. Jokes, tough one because I'm a Family Guy fan. Every time I see a fat person checking out the grocery store, I look at what they're buying. It's always junk food. Take a hint. True. Then, on May 24th, Onision made a video called "How Old Do I Look?", where he Googled YouTubers' age and ran the photos through an age-guessing application and reacted to it. And in this video, he said internet gem Jenna Marbles looked old.
Looks like Jenna Marbles is 34 years old. Only 6 years old. Wait, she's younger than me? I feel like I've learned this before, but every time I find out it's a shock. I don't look that old, do I?
He really does not like her. However, he really liked Andy Biersack.
Andy Biersack is a 24-year-old woman. Go figure, he actually is 24. Yay, technology.
And on May 26th, he uploaded a video called "Andy Biersack, Do Ugly Pictures of Him Exist?", where he gargled the metaphorical cock of some emo musician that he's been obsessed with for years.
Do ugly pictures of Andy Biersack exist? The answer is no, because angels, no matter the angle, are never ugly. Did I just ruin the video? Whatever.
The next point of interest came on May 28th, when Laney made a tweet joking about grooming Sarah. They tweeted, @SarahBear8500, "I'm grooming you nicely." Sarah was 15 and Laney 20. Onision continued to post videos throughout May, and they did really well. But then June came, and with June, Greg's new friend, Ronnie Radke, got accused of raping a woman. Onision came to Ronnie's defense quickly, with a video titled, "Did Ronnie Radke really gang assault a girl?" Onision removed the video, but at the time, Ronnie appreciated the support. Soon, Greg's audience tried to tell him to avoid Ronnie, and Greg tweeted about how his fans would warn him to stay away from Ronnie, and how Ronnie's fans would also warn him to stay away from Greg. Ronnie replied by telling Greg that he thinks he's rad. Next, Onision got featured in a news article when ex-child actor and convicted sex pest Drake Bell made headlines for misgendering Caitlyn Jenner. Onision got featured for defending the hit-and-run offender, Caitlyn Jenner, in a tweet that read, "Refuse to call Caitlyn by her name at Drake Bell? Okay, Drake. Your name is now Donna. Enjoy being called what you don't identify as, Donna." On June 6th, Onision announced that he was proudly sexist against men, as men are inferior to women, according to him. And he took on the title of feminazi, saying that feminists were too tolerant of men. On the same day, Onision posted another 10 Things I Hate video, this time 10 things he hates about sex. It was, again, standard for these sorts of videos. Sometime around June 14th of the year, popular YouTuber Cat Black made a video that mentioned Onision. I don't believe the video is still up, as she took down a lot of her older videos. But according to screenshots, she called out Onision for his feigned activism for trans rights. Also on June 11th, Onision posted this update to his next book. The update read, "Before my next book begins, you will find this message. I haven't read a book by anyone else in many years. I am an inexperienced author. I don't hire professional editors, and I self-publish. I do, however, have many stories to tell, so I write them regardless of my flaws. What I write comes directly from me. If you read it, I wrote it. There are no filters. My grammar isn't perfect, and my writing style is organic. Book sales do not make me feel complete. Writing them alone does that for me. If you enjoy what I write, wonderful. But I know I will love my books regardless of whether or not they are placed on a pedestal or in the trash. My stories enrich my life, and I wrote them for people who relate to me. If you do not like my book, that just means it wasn't written for you, and I encourage you to find an author who better suits you. No sales pitch. You either like me or you don't. If you do, stay. If you don't, forget me. This book is infused with who I am, only me, from the first page to the last. That's all." On June 18th, Onision uploaded a video entitled, "Is it bad to tattoo someone's name on your body?" Perhaps a throwback to his ex, Shiloh, who I discussed in part 2, who was also Greg's most infamous ex. But it was another video where Onision just googled words and reacted. No mention of Shiloh, but he did conclude, tattooing someone's name on your body is in fact bad.
Is it bad to tattoo someone's name on your body? Most likely. Now, fortunately, a lot of us have overwhelming egos, and many of us believe that our love is truer than others. Billy's different, he's not like the other boys. The reality is that statistically, most of us are just a statistical cliche.
On June 22nd, Onision announced that his next book is already done, and that people who like his literary works will be very surprised. On the same day as the book announcement, Greg also took to Twitter to ask random people why they were following Chris Brown, an American singer known for brutally beating his then-girlfriend Rihanna back in 2009. He eventually added Ronnie Radke, the musician he had just won over, asking him why he followed Chris Brown. This resulted in an argument. Greg then went around all over Twitter, complaining about Ronnie not unfollowing Chris Brown, and then unfollowed Ronnie. Greg shot out a barrage of tweets at Ronnie, implying that Ronnie thinks Chris Brown's abuse was okay, which resulted in Ronnie leaving Twitter. Laney, aka Kai, even got involved in the fight, when Ronnie implied Greg married them as a minor and starved them, to which Laney responded, "False," and posted a picture of themselves with food. But behind closed doors, they were apparently actually starving themselves. On June 25th, Onision informed the masses that he was finishing the first edit of his second book, and soon everyone will be wowed by his literary works again. One thing to note that was happening behind the scenes was that Laney Bot began dabbling in gender non-conforming ways of dressing themselves, and on June 28th, it was noted that they had cut their hair short. Laney did come out at the beginning of July, and on July 1st, they came out as bisexual and genderqueer, and would show off their new androgynous look on their YouTube channel on July 3rd, 2015. Greg would soon jump onto this change in identity of his spouse by taking to Twitter announcing, "My wife is bi, and I literally can't give her everything a woman can. She wants a girlfriend? Baby, I support you 100%. This would be the precursor to the dramatic polyamorous bisexual relationship the two would get into at the end of 2015. This is also when people began to call Greg a cuck. Cuck is short for cuckold, and it's a derogatory term many people began calling Greg around 2015 and 2016. Cuck has two definitions, both of which people associated with Greg. The first definition, the original definition, is a man with an unfaithful wife. The newer and political definition is a demasculated millennial liberal male who often speaks of white privilege and modern feminism. The meme of calling Onision a cuck will get more prevalent as the year progresses. And with Kai coming out as bi, Greg decided to use this to try to Shane Dawson. Try to get Shane Dawson's attention. You see, Shane had recently come out as bi as well, and cried during the coming out video. And Onision responded to this by writing, "Shane is bi? Our kiss has new meaning, happy face. Congrats. Although my wife came out and she didn't cry. She smiled. You should too at Shane Dawson." Apparently a few days later, Greg made a video titled, "I'm Coming Out, My Confession," where he made fun of Shane Dawson's coming out video. He's really seething, ain't he? The next run-in with another e-celeb came on or around June 14th, when someone tweeted at successful YouTuber Philip DeFranco, letting them know Onision had mentioned them in a video, which Phil responded, "At Onision, 1. I didn't know he was still around. 2. Glad he didn't kill himself. 3. His presentation has gotten great. To which Greg responded, LOL. Thanks, Phil. I'm kinda glad I haven't killed myself yet either. To which Philip responded, @Onision, I hope you took that as a compliment. I think a lot of people, including Tony, were worried about you self-harming. To which Onision responded, @PhillyD, it's amazing how mentally wrecked I was. Thanks for caring though. After this, Onision pretended that he just didn't want to go to the annual YouTube event, VidCon, and not that he was actually banned, by tweeting out, wow, a party with a bunch of YouTubers? That sounds super fun. Unfortunately, I'd rather sit alone in my office and work. Thanks. And he also continued writing, please stop inviting me to VidCon parties. 1. I hate parties. 2. I'm banned from VidCon. 3. No. And then he tweeted out a picture of Shane Dawson, censored, and accused him of being a pedophile. In previous parts, I set up a drinking game. Drink every time Onision contacts his ex-wife or his ex-wife's sister, and let's prepare the drink, because on July 20th, Greg emailed his ex-wife, Sky, asking if he could pay off the remaining alimony in bulk. This is the 3rd time he's asked since their divorce. She didn't respond. And then Greg actually did something good. A sexual predator named Carter Reynolds had attended VidCon, and Onision helped the runners of the event, getting this man removed. A handful of news outlets even credited Greg for helping the creator of VidCon, Hank Green, remove Reynolds from the event. Then, get those drinks ready. On July 25th, Onision emailed Alicia, his ex-wife's sister, asking if she had Sky's newest email so he could try paying off his alimony in bulk. She didn't reply, and take another drink. He then, same day, emailed Sky, asking again to pay off her remaining alimony in bulk for the 4th time. She also didn't respond. Onision's bad reputation really was spreading throughout the community, and on July 29th, popular YouTuber Jack's Film talked about his thoughts on Onision. Jack tried to make this come off as a joke, but I don't think it was.
You once loved Onision, and then there's a picture of us in a YouTube video together. Okay, it's not that I don't love the guy, he just scares the out of me.
August comes around, and sometime in August, Sarah turned 15, and Laney began to talk to her romantically, and about wanting to kiss her once she turned 18. 4 days later, Onision rallied together his fans to spam Amazon with reviews for his crappy book and encouraged them to mention Jurassic Park in the review.
Just make sure if you leave a review for my book on iTunes, please mention Jurassic Park and or dinosaurs somewhere in the review.
This may have been to encourage reviews of his book on iTunes because at the time it had only 3 reviews. Greg then promoted this behavior by tweeting pictures and praising the users that left reviews. The next day, in a video, he said he wants to prove how flawed the Amazon review system was, and challenged his fans to spam Stones to Abigail's Amazon reviews with reviews about dinosaurs. He also dictated a long review about Stones to Abigail as hotter than 50 Shades of Grey for fans to post on Amazon. This resulted in hundreds of 5-star spam reviews on Amazon, and Stones to Abigail's star rank to go up to 4 full stars. This may have been a way to get attention on his book the day before his second book, This Is Why I Hate You, went up for pre-order. Onision revealed his second book on August 7th, titled This Is Why I Hate You. He put it up for pre-order on Amazon and announced it would be released on September 11th. He most likely picked that date because of the controversy it would cause, as he stirs up controversy every year around September 11th, with social media statuses and an annual 9/11 Fail video series he began in 2013. He also put out the possible cover for the book, which it just looked like another edgy thing. Onision's spouse, Kai, came out on August 7th in a coming out video that they made on Onision's channel. Sometime after this, Greg would begin pressuring them to seek out a girlfriend as a way to explore their sexuality. 2 days later, Onision posted a video to Onision Speaks titled Hot or Not. It got 1 million views, so I noted it in my timeline, but it was a typical Onision reaction video. He then posted a video titled Fat Girl or Skinny Girl. Then, on August 14th, Onision uploaded a video titled Is Onision a Gay Married Dad? Plus Pansexual, where he revealed he realized he was in fact heterosexual. He explained he thought pansexual meant if his wife grew a dick, he'd still love her. Something big happened in the Onision universe on August 19th. On that day, Kai tweeted to someone named Billy, asking Billy to be their girlfriend. Kai also asked Billy to teach them to do their eyebrows. Kai also said he did not pursue a relationship until he saw Billy was single. the relationship would progress further later in the timeline. A day after this, Onision got into another fight with YouTuber DFizzy. I think in almost every part of the Onision series, there's some kind of public fight between these two. And it seems like this time, it was Onision complaining that DFizzy says that he loves his fans. And this is unforgivable, according to Onision, the most honest YouTuber. Then, on the 21st, another Onisionism appeared, Onision's hatred of breast implants. Now, I do not blame a man for having a preference. If a man prefers a natural chest, then good for him. But Onision acts like if a woman doesn't fall within his preference, it's some kind of crime. And Onision's obsession with dissing women with implants will continue throughout the years. Again, I don't even think it's bad to say that plastic surgery is not a good idea, but it is your body and your choice. And Onision literally just seems upset that he doesn't want to these women when they get breast implants. And next, on the 22nd, someone posted a picture of some Onision merch, and I just wanted to share it. What is this? Who would wear this? I'm calling the police.
Chris, is that a weed?
No, this is a crayon.
I'm calling the police!
911, what's your emergency?
Onision's spouse, Kai, uploaded one of their first videos on August 28th, titled Girlfriend Boyfriend Tag 2. I'm not sure where part 1 went, but okay. But in the video, they drew cards and tried to guess information about the other. And important to note, Kai, who allegedly has an eating disorder, claimed the one thing he would change about himself was his weight, despite already being at a low weight.
She would make herself less pretty because she's tired of making other girls feel bad.
Let's have a serious answer.
What do you complain about a lot?
Should be very simple.
I don't know. I literally don't know. I can't think of anything. What is it? Her weight? What would you weigh?
Less.
You would weigh less than already skinny? That's ridiculous.
It was a pretty harmless video though, and the tag was popular at the time. The next important moment of interest happened on August 29th, when around that time an anonymous person was posting to the gossip website Lolcow, claiming to have gone to high school with Onision. The high school Anon posted a long 8-paragraph tell-all about his supposed years of knowledge on Greg based on their time in high school together and from mutual friends. The Anon then began answering questions from other board members and began posting old photos of Greg. He claimed he had these photos because he and his friends would save images of Greg from his MySpace as a joke. He answered questions for hours until he said he would be back to answer more questions the next day. He did not return and instead got into contact with Stevie Wolff, aka Some Guy 827, aka Onision Enemy number 2, after Repsion. Then on August 30th, 2015, Some Guy uploaded his interview with the high school Anon to SoundCloud. In the interview, he distorted Anon's voice at his request to hide his identity.
He's given me a few stipulations here, so if you hear Satan speaking to me in this, he's asked me after the interview to modulate his voice, and that's what you're going to hear.
The Anon claimed throughout this time period that Onision wore a trench coat and never talked to anyone.
In the very beginning, he was always the quiet, somewhat awkward kid who'd have the occasional loud outburst in class of something he thought was funny, but no one else did. Teachers never really liked him for doing that, and the more they got angry with him for doing it, the more he seemed to continue to just do it. Like I said, in that girl's reading of the book, he's just... In that book, he is literally documenting exactly how he was in high school, and we all experienced nothing different.
The Anon basically described Onision as an asocial edgelord that would appear in one of his books. One of the stories that the Anon regaled the audience with was a time he caught Onision in the principal's office, being berated by some girl's dad, while his own mom was screaming Wiccan chants.
That Onision had gotten caught f***ing around behind this girl's back that he was dating, and that her dad was a Marine or something like that. And he'd gotten called up to the office for starting a whole bunch of drama in regards to this situation. And during the conference between Onion, I guess his principal, this girl's dad, and the girl, his mother shows up. And for those of you that know anything about his mother is just mentally whacked. She's this psycho new age kind of creepy motherfucker. And she just starts chanting in the middle of it, and apparently you like stumbled upon all this. Could you go into that a little bit?
Oh, yes, I can totally do that.
That was the most insane story I think I've ever read.
Okay, this is kind of a weird story, so it goes like this. I for one, I don't know the full details of what really brought this to a conference. I know that he had been seeing a girl, a mutual friend of a mutual friend, and he decided to start seeing someone behind her back without letting her know. And as I said earlier, this is something he did a lot. He would get bored of a girl because he'd find something about her he didn't like, and then he would just go see somebody else and not even, bother breaking up with her because of, I guess, things messed up with him and the girl that he was cheating on her with. He had something to fall back on. It sounds like the whole, what is that girl's name, Shiloh thing. Anyway, he gets caught, and he was actually trying to get with this girl sexually.
Oh my god.
She feels uncomfortable about it, from what I understand, tells her father, and I said I don't know if he was a Marine or not. He looked like he could have been. I mean, he was a very big guy. He was a very, very built guy. And I stumbled upon this because I had some legwork to turn in.
Right.
And rather than just set it on my teacher's desk and wait for them to get it in the morning, I knew exactly where their personal office was and back at the school, so I went directly to them just to give it to them in person, so I knew they would get it. And on the way there, I passed by the principal's office where this is all going on, and when you hear something like this, you want to stop and just observe. I mean, you don't want to... Yes, you don't want to miss something like this. So, essentially, I'm overhearing him getting yelled at, being called a motherfucker, a stupid asshole, a whiny crybaby, just everything under the sun from this guy. And I'm just kind of standing around the corner listening to all this. The principal's not saying anything. He's just sitting there kind of with his hand against his temple, and he's just leaning on the fence and watching this all go on.
That's
and
great.
The girl is very upset. She's going, how can you do this to me? How could you think of me so little to just try and use me like that? And Onion's not saying anything. He's just sitting there doing nothing. His mom walks in.
Oh god.
His mom is... She's just always been special. From every time she's had to bail him out of things, and that was a lot. She's had to bail him out of a lot in life. In fact, I think the only parental influence he's ever had in his life, and anybody in school ever saw, was his mother.
Wow.
No one ever saw him around a dad. No one ever saw a father in the picture. I guess that kind of says everything that needs to be said. But she shows up, and she starts going off about how her boy is this amazing special boy. He can't do anything wrong. He's not in the wrong here. The girl's a trifling little skank. She's trying to corrupt her son.
Holy shit.
All this, and the dad is just about ready to go off. I think he was about ready to smack Greg for this. Out of nowhere, this woman starts chanting these, I don't know what it is, I'm not trying to be rude to people that are into pagan religions and such, but she starts chanting this stuff, and I mean, it's just like, he buries his hands in his face. He's sitting there looking like his life is over. You almost want to be sympathetic to him, and then you realize that he's only in this position because he put himself in this position, and his mother is chanting to the moon or whatever, trying to bail him out. And the principal eventually just gets so fed up with it that he asks everybody to leave. The whole thing is just, everything's said and done, just get out.
Yeah, it was pretty far-fetched, but some parts did seem pretty realistic for Greg, like him speaking down to his teachers. Greg wouldn't respond to this video right away, but 3 years later, he responded to it in 2018, pointing out inconsistencies of the story, which leads me to believe that this was a fake Anon. But the interview with Stevie Wolff had some interesting tidbits.
The biggest problem that he has always faced in his life, it seems even now, and it was then, is that he is a massive cheater. He never seems to make true commitments to any of the women that he gets with, now and certainly not then. He had this incredibly strange perception that cigarettes, alcohol, and drugs were, what can I even compare it to? They were worse than murder almost. It was odd.
And September comes along, and on September 4th, Kai uploaded a video telling the story of how they and Greg met. It was the basic story I told in other parts, that Kai was a fan and would tweet at Onision till Onision eventually DM'd Kai. Though in this video, Onision kept memeing the fact that he had been flirting with Kai at a questionable age.
You followed me back randomly one day and DM'd me.
When she was 12. She was actually 6 when I DM'd her 3 years ago. She was 6 years old and now she's 20.
21, almost.
She's almost 21.
And then you were like, how old are you? And I was like, well, I'm almost 18. And you were like, well, if you ever want to talk.
Yeah, I totally.
Yeah, and I was like, you ain't going anywhere.
I still feel deceived.
I was born in May.
You were not born in May. She lied to me about her age. That's what we're basically talking.
By 5 months.
The day after this, on the 5th, Onision interviewed his boy crush, Andy Biersack. The interview was littered with sexual innuendo and was wildly inappropriate.
So Andy, I want to have sex with you.
Is that a question?
And apparently a few days later, according to posts around September 10th, Onision went on a train wreck stream on Kai's YouNow, where he was rude to his spouse, and Greg allegedly said that he was similar to Donald Trump.
You know what? That's fair.
Then, on September 11th, 2015, Onision released his second book, This Is Why I Hate You, making this probably one of the worst events to happen on September 11th on American soil.
Boo, you whore.
Greg listed this atrocity in the genres war, psychological thriller, and psychological. In reality, it was Greg writing a threesome fantasy based on the delusion of how he saw himself. The book was a collection of fictional journal entries kept by a 17-year-old Arthur. I'm pretty sure it was either in this book or Greg's last book that Greg accidentally kept referring to the main character as himself sometimes. Anyways, the audience follows Arthur through his last year in high school and his time in the US Air Force. Apparently, Arthur and James, the antagonists of Greg's last book, attended the same high school at the same time period, making it the same universe. You thought the Marvel Cinematic Universe was large? Try the Onision Literary Universe. This was Greg's description of the book on Amazon. Within these pages wait violent fights, disease, death, controversy, sexuality, tragedy, and crime. This journal documents a hateful young man's path to darkness. Many events that occur are based on real events. You will find many moments from the author's own life sewn into the life of Arthur Gale. You can only go so far before all hope of return is lost. This book reaches that point and goes even farther. Soon after the release, YouTuber Godwins did readings of the chapters to laugh at Greg's poor writing.
The real point of me writing this is to keep myself from combusting. If for some reason someone reads this outside myself, maybe they will feel the same as I do. I know. Sorry. Maybe they're also sick of most everyone they've encountered. We are a curse this planet. We are a curse this planet. But fortunately for Earth, our presence here will no doubt be brief. You, reading this now, admit your life is meaningless and admit you don't matter.
The next point of interest for the lore of Onision came on September 23rd, when Kai came out as a demigirl. Laney Bot began trying out different names and using they-them pronouns at this time, but allowed family and friends to continue using she-her. They also began selling merch around this time too, and the merch was... oh, wow. Then, on September 29th, there was trouble in paradise when Greg and Laney got into a fight on Twitter over the fact that Laney was pescatarian instead of vegetarian. Greg's spouse had decided to be pescatarian because they were anemic and changed from vegetarian due to Greg's suggestion. Despite Greg suggesting this diet change, he still shamed his spouse in public. The interaction went like this. Onision writes, "Until we have an entirely vegan society, I will continue to feel indifferent while we watch alien invasion movies. You are predators." Greg isn't even vegan, he's vegetarian.
This is my vegetarian body!
Laney Bot responded, "At Onision, I'm not vegan though." To which Onision responded, "At Laney Bot, yes, you are a predator of fish. Fish equal meat. You are a meat eater. Your point?" He continues, "Let's be honest. You suck at consuming healthy food consistently. If you ate more, like me, you wouldn't have this problem." It continues onward, and he keeps berating Laney Bot. It's a pretty bizarre argument to have in public. It just does not seem appropriate for Twitter, and here is one of my favorite things he wrote. This is what he's writing about his spouse on Twitter for his fans to see. "I see a person who consistently takes the convenient route over taking responsibility and committing to doing the right thing." This is what he's writing to his, I believe, nursing spouse. They were just pregnant, and he decides to tell them that their diet isn't good and berate them in public. And I'm just gonna skip over this because it is just a long back and forth. I think at some point, Laney actually started to ratio Onision because, yeah, people were tired of it. And that was their, super long argument about the fact that Laney Bot decided to eat fish because they were anemic. Alright, fantastic. Then sometime around September 30th, Onision got a Tesla, showing off how much he has gotten from being a YouTuber. And then October came around, the spooky month. On October 11th, or around then, according to posts on the Onision Drama Tumblr, Onision uploaded a video about his spouse's father. There had been quite a bit of animosity between Greg and Kai's family, and according to the post, this new video was Greg villainizing his spouse's dad because the dad wanted to protect his child from a creepy YouTuber. I'm going to read a summary of the video. You guys, that video Greg uploaded about Taylor's father really f***ed me up. Everything he described sounded like a man desperately trying to protect his daughter. He tries to twist everything around to make it seem like the man was obsessed with controlling Taylor. But everything he described seemed pretty normal to me for a dad with a daughter in high school, especially one that just found out she's engaged to a 26-year-old man. The only one with the obvious obsession with control is Greg. The fact that he texted Taylor's father to rub it in his face that he has married Taylor, ugh. It's as if it was all a game to him, and that was his way of telling her father, "I won." Then he acts like it was weird that the father was civil, smiling, and complimentary at their wedding. When you lose your child into a relationship that you know is dangerous and your child moves 1,400 miles away, the only thing you can do is be civil. Put on a smile and hope for the best. You can't fight it anymore, or else you risk losing contact with your child for years. The part where he describes meeting up with her father at Olive Garden was the worst part for me. Greg talked about how the conversation started out normal, but her father's eyes became red and teary. He threatened to hurt Greg and put him in jail. That part hit me in the gut. He gave so much detail in that story. The emotions and imagery are so vivid and powerful. I can't help but to feel bad for Taylor's parents. Greg does everything in his power to turn her away from them. Just look at all the stunts he's pulled on social media to make them look bad or rile them up. Let's not forget how something similar happened to Shiloh and her father. Her father threatened him when they began dating, and Greg convinced her that someone who threatens someone you love is not worth talking to, so she cut contact. I also think back to Shiloh's mom's emails that Adrian included in the letter. In the letter, her mom writes, "Hey Adrian, he sucked her in again. She flew out to LA today. There's no one in this world that I hate more than this poor excuse for a man. He's going to destroy her yet." I remember seeing this video, and yeah, this is something Greg posted about his spouse's family. Real good guy.
I was now dating Laney. Mr. Grump wanted to meet me at Olive Garden. I'll say that's an olive. Does that even show up on this? Stupid green. So Mr. Grump is sitting across the table from me at Olive Garden. Our conversation was kind of chill at first, and then his eyes started turning red. He started getting teary because Mr. Grump decided to threaten my well-being. Despite my relationship with Laney being legal, he also threatened to put me in prison. Despite, again, our relationship being totally legal.
Then, on October 17th, Onision and Laney, aka Kai, got into another public fight on Twitter. Someone on the Onision Drama Tumblr affectionately titled their reporting of this fight with "Fight with Wife number 34535355." And then November came, and sometime around November 2nd, it looked like the Onision forum went down. Onision posted about this, writing, "What happened to the Onision forums? Apparently the forums were attacked. This is not a new thing. Instead of fighting to get the forums back only to see them die again, you can go to http://onision.org or http://onision.com, where forum-like activities are happening now." And then Onision decided to solve racial issues on this day as well, tweeting out, "Racial pride is exclusively for racists," to which Laney responded, "Being proud of who you are does not mean that you think you are better than anyone else." And then Onision posted the definition of proud and said, "A fact-based official definition contradicts your statement," to which Laney Bot responded, "At Onision, you can have a high opinion of yourself or your culture or anything without thinking you're better than people different than you." And Onision responded, "At Laney Bot, we had this discussion. High does not exist without low. To be proud of one thing, a lack in pride in another must exist." They've already had this discussion. "Laney, I already told you. No." To which Laney responded, "You can think you are important without thinking you're superior." And Onision just replied, "At Laney-Bot, important cannot exist without unimportant. There are people who you consider unimportant, therefore you think you're superior." He sounds like a lot of fun to be around. The website superfame.com even wrote about this back and forth the next day with a title reading, "Onision fights Madison Beer and his own wife Laney Bot on Twitter." The article continued, "Onision went on a controversial and long-winded rant about race on Twitter. He tweeted about reverse racism, his 'I don't see color' stance, and even slavery. But not everybody was a fan. Madison Beer, who recently spoke out about racially motivated police, ... and you can continue reading more at superfame.com. Onision began to be accused of racism on Twitter, to which Onision began to try to defend himself, and he claimed he never did blackface. He just painted himself black to appear racially black. He then proceeded to melt down at everyone on Twitter for the next 2 days about how he should have the right to paint his skin black. I love this. Then, Onision, unable to pry himself from social media, got into another public fight on Twitter on November 4th. The fight was over Laney being excited that someone from their favorite band followed them, and Onision publicly had a meltdown because the guy that Laney was tweeting at had blocked him. When Laney defended themselves and said that they loved this person named Aaron Paul's band, Onision then replied, "Cool, go marry him. Bye." Dude was literally about to have a divorce because some blue checkmark blocked him on Twitter. Onision even responded when Laney was obviously confused by this extreme reaction. Onision writes, "At Laney Bot, I wouldn't talk to someone who didn't like you. You're fangirling over someone who doesn't like me. It's a slap in the face." To which Laney responds, "I didn't know he blocked you until you tweeted me." Onision responds, shrugs, "We are literally different. I would have had your back no matter what. You? Argue instead of stand by me like I would you." To which Laney responds, "At Onision, this has zero to do with loyalty. I don't get notifications every time someone blocks you." To which Onision responds, "At Laney Bot, 1, someone blocks you, I tell them to off. 2, someone blocks me, you argue with me about it over countless tweets. Loyalty." Then, on November 5th, Greg emailed his ex-wife Sky once again, asking if he can arrange to pay off her alimony in bulk for the 5th time. She doesn't respond. A day after this, for some reason a new meme appeared in the Onision universe, where people would respond to Onision nonstop, writing, "Creamy meme dude." According to the Life of Onion wiki, some Facebook meme page had directed people to spam Onision's social media with the "creamy meme dude" meme. Hundreds of people non-stop spammed in the comment sections of every Onision post, writing, "Creamy meme dude." Also around this time, on November 6th, Laney came out as non-binary. On November 4th, an anonymous person tweeted out, "I went to high school with Onision, and he made his mom buy thongs for his crush in the 9th grade as a birthday present. Who knows if this is real?" Then, around November 9th, Onision's spouse deleted their Tumblr. Also around this time, Onision began to make anti-Black Lives Matter videos, saying that if you support or endorse Black Lives Matter, it makes you racist. Onision was an all lives matter kind of guy. YouTuber Cat Black decided to respond to Onision's tirade with a video on November 9th titled, "Stop Supporting media trolls, where she elaborated that she did not feel like responding to Onision's takes because he thrived on negative attention.
And you know what? I've called out a lot of people in the past. I've called out Onision, I've called out Ariel Scarcella, and I've called out Shane Dawson. And in doing so, I learned something. They don't care.
And also in this month, Onision turned the big 3-0. That's 30 years old. November 15th brings the beginning of Kai, aka Laney Bot, and Billy's relationship, Billy being the young woman that Kai had been conversing with online. According to the Life of Onion master timeline, on November 15th, Laney began talking with Billy. From their early texts, it's apparent that Billy assumed she would exclusively be dating Laney. Another major player in the Onision drama entered the ring, Jacqueline Glenn. Jacqueline Glenn is a prominent YouTuber who usually would do videos about science and atheism, and on November 20th, she posted a video featuring Onision called Opinionated Idiots. According to the lore, Onision had reached out to Jacqueline when she was beginning her YouTube career because he was also an edgy atheist. Also probably because she was kind of cute. The next day, Onision posted his own collab with Jacqueline Glenn to his channel that was a Joker versus Superman parody. He had flown Jacqueline out to collaborate. Apparently, people were really upset with Jacqueline for teaming up with Onision because according to the Onision drama Tumblr, every comment under Jacqueline's video was saying that they were unsubbing from her channel for collabing with Onision. This would definitely continue to blow up in Jacqueline's face over the years. Onision had been doing various rating videos of people's images taken from various social medias over the year. As I talked about earlier, these style of videos were very prosperous for Onision, but on or around November 30th, this seemed to bite him in the butt. Someone posted to Reddit, Xpost, USA YouTuber has taken one of my images, Norway, and is using it without permission and making false claims. A friend just sent me a video, and now I'm having a slight anxiety attack. I have had images stolen before, but it has always been a young girl claiming my work is hers. So initially, I shrugged it off, but then I watched the video. I've reported the video and messaged the channel owner, but is there anything else I can do to get it taken away? A before and after picture of me has been taken from my blog, cropped out the watermark, and is being used as an example of what happens when you stop drinking. The video is centered around alcohol and drug abuse, and my bridal tutorial has been turned into, hey, look at the alcoholic, in amongst meth addiction before and after shots. I am a professional makeup artist. This is not just a blog post. This is my life. I am very careful about what I post online. I am fully aware that there are many young girls reading my blog and stuff, so I don't talk about anything other than my work. I don't post party girl pictures or talk about controversial issues. I just do makeup, lip art, happy, fun, clean, nice stuff. Right now, I feel like my reputation could be destroyed. What can I do? The video was posted on the 19th of November, and it is already at almost 2 million views. One friend has already recognized me. I wonder what would happen if my boss or customer saw it. While I don't agree that drugs and alcohol are bad, I am not an alcoholic and really hate that I'm being publicly framed as one. This would not be the only time someone was upset with Onision, including them in his reaction videos. And we are on the last month of the year. This month brings the throuple relationship Greg always wanted, and sometime in December, Billy came to visit Kai and Greg. Greg said this visit was so that Kai and Billy could get to know one another because they planned on dating. While Billy was over, Greg posted many statuses and images encouraging Billy and Kai's relationship. Also in this month, Laney came out as agender. There has been a lot of coming out for Kai during this year, though they did not identify as Kai quite yet, and still went by Laney Bot. Sometime around December 3rd, Onision got featured on the well-known channel Watch Mojo in a video titled Top 10 Most Controversial YouTube Channels, where he was ranked number 2.
Number 2, Onision.
Today we're gonna ask the question, why do men abuse women? Because it makes no sense. Just dump and move on, don't hit her.
Dubbed as YouTube's perfect villain, Greg Jackson, aka Onision, has annoyed, angered, and inappropriately commented his way into being considered one of the most hated YouTubers. In 2009, he branded all meat eaters as murderers.
I am giving you people a simple alternative to eating meat, and you turn me down and say, no, I like murdering, it's cool. I love the taste of flesh because I'm a piece of f***ing
And in 2012, he was barred from VidCom following especially inflammatory comments about rape. Essentially, no topic is off limits. Abuse, circumcision, cutting, he never ceases to cause an uproar in the comments.
Baby cutting oftentimes is a sign that you can't even think for yourself. That's why cutting's for emos and not hipsters.
However, Onision is probably most famous for his sometimes blasé, often belittling, and rarely beneficial views on depression and suicide.
You f***ing ungrateful b****. What do? You sit there and you go, I'm cutting myself because of bullshit reason.
It's probably wise to not take this guy's advice too seriously, especially if you're down on yourself.
So I'm gonna kill myself? Because nobody cares about what I have to say?
He posted about this to Facebook, writing, Onision, second most controversial YouTuber? That's what I get for speaking my mind. Around December 4th, someone posted a parody relationship story to Reddit about their mean husband snapping at them on Twitter for tweeting at a musician they like for following them because said musician had blocked the husband on Twitter. Sound familiar? It's so obviously about Onision and Laney. The responses called the husband abusive and creepy for their age gap. Next in the timeline happened on December 6th. On this day, Blood on the Dance Floor, a band that Greg has had previous beefs with, publicly invited Greg to one of their shows on Twitter. Greg responded with a no. This resulted in a back and forth between the two and ended with Onision posting child molestation accusations against the lead singer of Blood on the Dance Floor. Greg may be creepy, but the guy from Blood on the Dance Floor is way worse. On the same day as this, Billy came to visit Kai and Greg for the first time. Sometime after this, Greg would show Billy his ex-wife's sister's naughty pictures for some reason. During the first day of the meeting, Greg pressured Laney and Billy to kiss. Greg would photograph their second kiss and post it to Instagram. Sometime after this, Laney would respond to people accusing them of cheating. Kai, aka Laney, seemed really mad and responded. Someone tweeted at Daddy Lane, no judgment, but then would you mind if Greg dated other people? Sorry I'm being nosy, I just don't completely get polygamy. To which Daddy Lane responded, 1. Not cheating on Greg, obviously. Look up polyamory. 2. Can't believe you would say that to me. 3. Feel free to unfollow. 4. It was for a video. Around December 11th, people really began to spam Greg with cuck allegations. I saw the phrase cucky memius brethren and cucky McF being spammed at him. Greg responded to these allegations with a screen cap of the definition of cuck, saying that he was indeed not a cuck. On December 12th, Onision decided to post softcore lesbian cuck porn with a video entitled Onision's Wife Leaves Him for a Woman. And when I say this is a minute and a half of softcore lesbian cuck fetish porn, I'd be telling you exactly what it is. It's painful, and I can hear Onision's lecherous breathing as he edited it while watching.
I'm coming for you.
Come to me.
Almost there.
Wait, what?
That's right, baby. Your lips taste like cherry.
Oh my god, no.
This feels so right without whiskers. No more sandpaper except down there. Girl.
Babe?
Ugh. I'm not sure if Onision was pretending that Laney had actually left him, because sometime around that time, he posted that he was sad, saying, look deep into my eyes and you can watch me fall apart. And then tweeted out, to all wondering, my partner and I are fine. I'm just having some emotional problems I need to deal with alone. Laney Bot is great. If you watch today and tomorrow's Uh-Oh Bro, you will know what a fake smile / tone masking a very depressed person looks like. Preview, happy face. Which seemed more like he was desperate for attention, to be honest. Laney also was tweeting out cryptically that they weren't happy at this time. Onision went back to normal on December 14th, and he tweeted out, starting to feel better today. Maybe no fake smiles in today's videos. Maybe. On the 16th, Billy announced that she was going vegan on Twitter. While Billy was going vegan, Laney began binding their chest to get a more androgynous appearance to meet their agender identity. And they continued to explore their gender identity and began selling some, merchandise with art on it that states your gender is valid. On the same day, according to the Life of Onion Master timeline, Greg asked Billy if she ever thought about dating Laney. This resulted in the two beginning to date the next day. This throuple now consisted of Billy, 18, Laney, 21, and Greg, 30. According to Billie, the first time she had sex with either party was in a three-way with Greg and Laney. She claims that Greg and Laney started making out, and then Greg would tell her to do things with Laney during their sexual interactions. Billie also claims that while she visited, sex was an almost daily occurrence between her and Sarah, the underage girl living with them, tending to the children and the house. This feels like a cult. The next person to fly into the YouTube cult ranch was up-and-coming emo Native American LARPer, Social Repose, who tweeted out on December 19th, "Seattle bound, too excited to see the lovely @Laney Bot and @Onision." Towards the end of the month, Onision began to love bomb Laney Bot on Twitter, tweeting out nonstop how much he loved them. It really comes off as overcompensation, and at one point he wrote, "A lot of people get dumped for stupid reasons. I'm just saying if Laney left, it would likely be my fault. Laney is a really good person. I love my wife, believe me guys." This love bombing lasted a few days before Onision latched onto something else to rant about on social media for hours, as one does. He began to rant about how all parents suck but him. Other parents are very mean, and Onision is not like those other parents. He's a cool parent. He even went after his spouse's mom, who he insulted on his very public Twitter, and her inability to be a mother. Husband of the year. Laney Bot then asked Greg to stop insulting their mom, to which Onision responded, "Laney Bot, sorry, I need to stop openly pointing out the obvious truth. My bad." To which Laney responded, "Onision, I'm just trying to enjoy something here." To which Onision responded, "Laney Bot, some people like to focus on the positive. I focus on everything. There is good and bad, but when you ignore the bad, you lie." To which Laney then responds, "Onision, I'm not ignoring it. I'm just commenting on one video. I love my mom." To which Onision responds, "Laney Bot, I love my mom, but I would never use the hashtag mom of the year for her in a serious context, because we both know that's you." To which Laney responded, "Onision, pretty sure I asked you to stop." And Onision responded, "Laney Bot, Roger." And the year ends with some creepy behavior by Kai, aka Laney Bot. Apparently, according to the Life of Onion master timeline, Kai contacted the underage Regina via Facebook. According to Regina, Kai would go on to send her videos of themselves singing love songs in the shower via Snapchat. As well, the relationship between Kai and Billie continued during December as well, although I do not have a definite timeline. According to the Onision wiki, during Billie's first trip to visit Kai, sometime between Billie first flying there around mid-December and the date she flew out, which I am not sure the exact date of that, apparently Kai became mad and even cried because Billie and Greg were spending a lot of time together, rather than Billie focusing on Kai. Kai felt that Billie may have only been there for Greg and not really for them. Greg said he felt Kai was being unfair and encouraged them to give Billie another chance. They didn't exactly break up at this time and would eventually get back together in person in 2016. But sometime after all of this, I assume this is still in 2015, Kai drove Billie to the airport and the trip was over. According to Greg, by the time they made it to the airport, they were on good terms again. And this would open us up for one of the most disastrous years in the life of Onion, 2016. Prepare for the next one, whenever it comes out. But there we have it, Onision 2015. Not much happened in comparison to other years. We had some passive-aggressive public Twitter fights between the married couple, some celebrity beefs, and what I think was the most important thing in the year, the creation of the Onion literary universe. That was definitely my favorite part. I'd like to thank my patrons and my channel members listed here. You guys rock. If you're interested in supporting my channel and my content, please consider becoming a patron. I only charge when I put out long-form content, and never more than once a month, so it's not a monthly subscription. And if I happen to make 2 long-form content videos in 1 month, you're not going to be charged twice. Doubtful that'll ever happen though. I especially want to thank my $20 and over patrons. Here, $20 and over patrons get special artwork done by me. And also consider following me on my other social media, which will be linked below. Till next time, suffer lightly.